But let's bring on head coach of the Omaha Supernovas. I don't want to use the word interim because it just seems beneath her. Coach Bird. Coach, how are you
Hi.
today? What's happening?
Hi there. Good. How are you guys
A
doing?
long time no see.
I know, right?
You're officially my road dog because we have been up and down the roads of the Pro
Yeah.
Volleyball Federation, and I was telling Austin before we came back from the break that in trying to describe Coach Bird, there are a couple of things that jump out to me, and please correct me if I'm wrong. But
Okay.
you are absolutely popular in every port we land in. That every game there are people who show up for Coach Bird. Is that a statement of truth or no?
Well, I mean, I think it could just, I've traveled a lot. Maybe it's just because I've been around too long, you know? But no, I think it's just the volleyball world. It's our community. Our volleyball community is a pretty tight knit group. So I think that's what makes it cool. That's why I think this is taking off because all of us we're all in it together.
But before we get too deep into the Supernovas and the Pro Volleyball Federation, give the folks the elevator pitch for a life that you've lived in full. It's complete, it's absolute, and pretty spectacular at high levels. You as an athlete, and you as an assistant coach, and now as the interim head coach of the Supernovas.
I think my elevator pitch would be that I've always based my life decisions on relationships and the feeling I get when I'm around certain people, and even when it comes to interviews and jobs. And so I think that's why maybe it seems more of a social thing for me. But it really has been. Even going to college, I wanted to go somewhere warm and to the South, and a big city, so I ended up in Atlanta. And then just throughout my career, I probably haven't made the popular choice, but I based it more on the people. And when I went on interviews and were in certain places, it just felt right. So I kind of like to establish that. That's kind of my style. I would say it's more style and relationships than anything.
Do you coach to your own personality profile? Is that the statement of truth?
I don't know, honestly. No, I would say no, because I am a pretty low key, even keeled, don't show a lot of emotion coach. And I love and gravitate towards strength coaches and I can't use the words because they're not appropriate for the radio. But my dad was my basketball coach. I love Coach Self at Kansas. I love coaches that are intense, and not that I'm not intense, but I'm very even keeled. I just don't really show emotion. But I think it's because there's basketball in my core, and strength coaches, I always connect with them because I think there is an intensity, but I don't coach like that. Yeah. I never hardly get in people's faces. I'm very matter of fact, but I think I like being coached that way. So it's funny.
Yeah.
That's an interesting question.
Yeah. Well, I was telling Austin before, I said, yeah, Austin, am I correct? How did I describe Coach Bird?
Word for word.
Just that you're even keel in 5-set matches, all of 2-point games. The moment's never too big. You're never really, there's no chaos involved. It's make a play. And you feel prepared. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. There's enough chaos going on. I mean, I don't think there needs to be much more emotion. Now, when I watch volleyball, I definitely react.
Yeah, different deal.
But when I'm coaching it, there's no, it's like you kind of know what you want them to do and what you're expecting, so I don't really have to react.
Coach Bird, let me ask this question because the league, the Pro Volleyball Federation in year one, as we say, year one, you've been through 8 episodes of year one, and we didn't really know what the story was going to be. We were waiting for the character development to happen. We now know some things about the Supernovas that we didn't know 8 weeks ago. Okay. Can I ask you to define this season so far as you stand at 5-3 in your mind? Where do the new Supernovas stand?
I think that we are a work in progress, like any team right now in the league. But I think it's really cool to see everyone kind of finding their groove, I would call it. And the level of play continues to rise, and you can see the competitions. I mean, it was a fast start. It was like a cannonball of a start. You're putting a team together and you're playing your matches, and you don't have like hardly any time to train. You're figuring out people's roles. And even now, like if you watch us, like we've had big time matches where we made subs and we changed things up, and players come in and they just like seamlessly take over and they like do their job and have great matches. I think that for the Supernovas, that is cool. Like we have the depth and we have the flexibility to go to our bench, and it's not even. We need to come up with a different word. It's not even a bench. It's like what is the NASCAR? The pit. It's like the pit.
Yeah.
The pit crew.
Yeah.
Because it's like those people keep that car going that fast, and you never miss a beat. That's what we have. We have like a pit crew that's like, you just put a new tire on. It's like brand new. And I mean, that's very cool to have. And it's a thankless job, and it's not easy, and it's management of that for the players. And a lot of these players have never had to be on the bench, let alone, just the dynamics. I mean, it seems so fun and easy, but it's a team, and it's a role that you have to like understand and be engaged and be ready to go.
There's so much in what you just said that, having watched it from courtside and watching the evolution and then the redirection of it, there are core players that have long history and deep resumes. And then you have the college stars who I just say they're not coming off the bench. They're just in your rotation. They just have different levels of that and jobs within the rotation. But let's go through the roster so we give people some idea about how deep and wonderful this team is. The starter for me, if you wanted to identify, and because she was on air today and you and I have recently talked about her, that Kendall White is such a unique human being who happens to utilize those human skills and her humanity to lead this team on the volleyball court. Is that a fair statement about Kendall White?
Yes, and I think she is very comfortable in her who she is and her personality, and even her ability to perform at the highest level and continue to have that personality. And that's a job, a task for anybody, to be able to control the emotions while you're playing. And so that's something for her. I mean, she's so like just a very emotional player that her communication, her play, and then the actual emotion that she feels. I mean, that's you have to manage that stuff when you're playing and competing at that level.
For anybody around the game to find somebody that you can say is the most efficient player with the volleyball on her fingertips as anybody in the league, that's a huge statement.
Yeah. I mean, there is, but every team has someone that has to kind of fill that role, but it's the consistency of it.
Yeah.
Like who is doing that consistently. And it's not just the physical play. Like I said, it's the communication. It's the energy of it and behind it that keeps it going.
Yeah. And plus she's that way all the time. If there's ever a quiet moment on the team bus, Kendall is going to be the person that resets the temperature of the room.
Right. Yeah.
And perfectly so. Through this roster, you have elite performers from first player to last player, but a player that has shown a presence. Brooke Nuneviller plays this game at such a high rapidity and such a freedom. Like you don't like to watch her. To say how athletic Brooke Nuneviller is hard to explain to people outside the game. From the back row, like I nicknamed her Back Row Brooke because she just is violent and athletic and explosive from the back line and is just a playmaker all at 5'10".
Yeah. She's so, like, when you talk about an intense competitor, that is her. But she's so dialed in. I wouldn't say she's high emotion at all. I mean, she is like all in, very focused. But she's probably one of the most intense athletes I've coached. But I also love that about her. I mean, she's so locked into like what she needs to continue to do as a team, and everyone respects that about her. She is. I mean, she is our kind of that court captain, and she has the pulse of the team, but it's like how she plays. It's like a player that can play with no words because she's going to do it through her actions.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and just, she's very cerebral as well. Her attack, they're purposeful. It's mission based. You have the blessing and the benefit of having two exceptional setters that you keep in rotation and you use based on situation and circumstance, as you said before in post-match interviews, that they attack and approach differently, but ultimately cover everything that's required no matter when you call on them. Talk about Nadi and Sydney, because those are two incredible setters, and they are the pace setters and the quarterbacks for the Supernovas team.
Yeah, and I would attest to their relationship and the ability for them to share that role in the most genuine way. And I've had conversations with them just, through the start of all of this, but it is a competition, and they know that. And they also, I think it's a trust with the players and the team and our staff that we're going to make the best decision because we're all here for the same reason and we're all in it together. And there are moments like it isn't easy to make changes and decisions in the moments when you are dealing with a momentum sport. But there have been moments where we made a big change and it is seamless. And that to me, as a coach and as a staff, we can't speak on it enough and appreciate it enough, because that is the ultimate sacrifice for putting the team first and being a great teammate and recognizing that's what the team needs. And there is zero rebuttal. I don't think anyone should be happy or accepting their role, but they're all great teammates and they all know that we're all doing this to get the win. And those two exemplify it more than any two players we have.
We're talking to Coach Laura Bird Kuhn. She is the interim head coach of the Supernovas. And as we're talking about the roster, the thing that you just mentioned was trust. And we talked about it in that your ability to look down the bench at any given point to somebody and trust that they will get the job done, whatever the task is you're going to give them. But they also trust you in putting in the work and being prepared so that when you call on them, they can produce it. I think it's understated how impressive it is to watch a coach manage this level of volleyball talent, keep it on the same page, and to keep it moving forward. So, Coach, let me say that. It's impressive to watch because there are professional teams around, no matter what the sport is, who can't manage the people attached to this level of talent when it seems like in a new thing, everybody would want to get theirs. What is your key? What's your philosophy to making sure that everybody stays connected, stay on the same page, and play for each other?
Well, I think it's a testament to the roster that was built, like with Shelton, and even to the staff that he brought in around them. All of us have been here since day one. And so I think the relationships and that communication and that deeper trust was built from day one. And we are bringing players back that we had in training camp, throughout the season. They're still here. They're all bought in. And so I think that is where it all started. And it's the team. I mean, they have a deep relationship. We've been here since day one, so we got to build that relationship. And so I think it's just that communication. And I am just very direct. I keep things very matter of fact. I'm not going to change who I am or what we're trying to do just because of a situation, a circumstance, or the timing of the season at this point. It's like we just have to be in this together and continue to communicate. And it isn't easy. The roles that continue to change and evolve, they come with dialogue and conversation, and they're not easy conversations. And I don't think it's like this, happy-go-lucky emotion every day, day in and day out. I mean, yeah, you've been on the road with us. You've seen the grind of it. So I just think it comes down to communication and being clear and honest with everyone. That is the bottom line. You just keep it real and keep it clear and honest with them.
Coach, there's so many really cool stories about the people under your watch. But I think the story for me is Jess Shaven-Landsman. And just listen, every superhero story requires friction and a change of decision and rework to get to another place, and then getting some sign that you made the right decision and that all those talents and skills and stress that you went through was actually worth it. Tell the folks about Jess, because she's such a unique story.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is I coached against Jess when she was at Iowa State and I was at Kansas. And then she went and played sand. She went and played sand at LSU. And I actually just sat with her when we were on the road in Orlando. And I was like, how much did that change your game? Because she was a huge arm, like point scorer at Iowa State. But I would have never guessed that she would go and be some type of ball control sand player.
Yeah.
But that changed her whole game. It took it to the next level. And she even says that. She's like, there's no way I could be playing on the right side and have the shots that I have now if I wouldn't have played sand. And I'm like, I completely agree with you. Like, I played against her. She was a left. You know, I coached against her. And that's why she's so dominant on the left still, because that was her position. But she is. I mean, she started a family, got married, has a baby. And then, you know, this league starts and it's like, well, is there a chance? Yeah. Just come to our camp, come to mini camp.
Mm-hmm.
And then she like works her butt off and gets in shape. Like, we didn't know what to expect. And she like the epitome of what we talk about, earning your spot. I mean, she really has. And she showed up, and from the mini camp on, she's just been working hard and putting her head down and just doing work. And that's what it takes. I mean, that's what you want out of a player. That's what coaches love to see. And she's a great teammate. All of them are. Fun to be around.
Yeah, I mean, through all of that, right? And that she's teaching and coaching and a mom, mm-hmm. and without any promise to her that this thing could happen for you. You built, I mean, you were honest with her and said, listen, I'm not really sure how this plays out, but if you'd like to try,
yeah,
come on. And she crushed it. She absolutely crushed it.
Mm-hmm.
So
yep.
I think it's fantastic that, again, open-minded coaches who identify talent, that there was a thing that was there. Some coaches wouldn't have even broached the idea, because if it's not guaranteed, a lot of people don't want to go through it. I'd say it's spectacular.
Yes, I would agree. A lot of people are scared of the unknown, but I would say we are very much, our staff is based on, like, we're going to earn it. We're going to train you guys, and you're going to show us what you got, and we're going to put the best out there to get wins. And I would say they would believe that. I think anyone that's been in our gym would believe that right now. It would be a similar story with Allison Mayfield. You know, I coached her at Kansas, but she's been coaching for 3 years.
Yeah.
She hasn't played. She played overseas forever, but it's the same thing. It's like, we'll just come see what happens at
mm-hmm.
training camp, you know, at mini camp. So yeah, I mean, I think that's what makes it unique, but it also is what makes the gym competitive.
There's so much depth, and there's so much balance. And again, for most coaches, looking down the bench doesn't always equate to having an answer when you look down there.
Yeah.
And having that, but you did a thing in Orlando where you looked down the bench and you were shorthanded, but you looked down the bench and you called on Maggie Cartwright. And I don't want to bury the lead in the result, but I want to ask about the work that she had put in and the trust that she had put in, that at some point there might be an opportunity for her. And when you called on her in a big moment, Maggie Cartwright showed out. Coach, talk to me about Maggie Cartwright.
Yeah. I mean, these kids just came off their college season, you know, these players, and they were, you know, ready to go. And so she's been competing in our gym, but I would say our whole team has. I feel like I've said it, we called on multiple players. She was the most recent one that hasn't really seen a lot of time, and she went in and she, yeah, like you said, showed out. She was playing against one of her teammates, you know, Jill, but we talked about it. We talk about all the stuff as a staff, like where we go, what decisions you make in these moments, like what this match holds, how practices have been going. So we kind of talked through that stuff before the matches, but we kind of talked about it in the first Orlando match to get her in or to see what she got. And then we talked through it. We had an opportunity, so we gave it to her. I talked to Jess after that, and Nia knew that she could very well get an opportunity also. And that's the thing about our team. We have multiple pieces and multiple people we could go to. So in that moment, we just thought Maggie was having a good week. She's super aggressive offensively, and that's what we needed. We needed a spark because in that second set, our offense kind of tailed off. So we wanted Maggie to light us up a little bit, and she sure did.
Coach, it's, and again, it's appreciated. And I have a much higher level of respect for the game and the talent and the skill and the work that's put in. That's part of why we were excited to become the flagship. So it would give us access and let us see how amazing these women are. And then to meet the people behind the athletic ability, because you need to personify it. We're going to give away 4 tickets to the next Supernovas home game. But tomorrow we take off for Atlanta, and it's an opportunity, and every night's an opportunity. But the 2 teams that sit at the top of the Pro Volleyball Federation are the Atlanta Vibe and the Omaha Supernovas. They've met once before on opening night. Both teams have evolved since then. What's your message to your team and to the fans about traveling to Atlanta? You don't want to get too bought in, right, to get even or to get right. But this is a statement that the rest of the federation is watching what will happen in Atlanta. So what's the message heading to Atlanta?
I think it's just like any other match. It's, like you can build it up and people are going to do that. People always do that. But it's any other match. And we have to execute our game plan, and it's always first contact. No matter, they're very pin strong, pin heavy, but you still want to get them out of system. You still want to serve tough and keep pressure on them. And then at the same time, we need to be in system. We need to take care of our first contact with our passing so that we have all of our options and we can have balance. I think the first time we played them, obviously it was the opening match. I think we've come a long way with our competitive chemistry. That's something that in those first 2 weeks of our season, we challenged the team and we talked about that. And I think everyone has seen us grind and figure out ways to win on the road. And I'm excited for us to be on the road again. I know we've been on the road a lot, but I think this team kind of thrives in that atmosphere, and it'll be a great match. Like, we know it's going to be a great match. Every match is going to be a great match. And yeah, there might be a little more edge to this one because we opened the season against them. But at the end of the day, I think every match kind of has its character and its personality due to who we're playing, just because they all know some of these players. But yeah, this one will be fun, and it'll be a very high level. I'm sure it will be.
Coach, again, thank you for giving us access to the work that you do and this roster of yours, and letting us tell the story of the Omaha Supernovas from up close. And I want to thank you publicly for your welcoming vibe to Rico and myself as we travel. We try to stay out of the way a little bit, but as you know, as you've now figured out about Rico, Rico has no boundary and wants to be as close as possible. So.
It's so fun, but that's what it's all about. I mean, when you have your people that you get to travel with, and I mean, we're all kind of developing our personality as a team and a group together, but it's fun. I mean, I think that's cool when we can kind of bond as an organization and a family, really, because that's what you do. I mean, you spend that much time together. So I appreciate you guys putting the time in to be with us. So it's special. It's a special time, and I think it's cool for you guys to get to learn our personality as it evolves.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Coach Laura Bird, Kuhn. Coach, thank you. I will see you tomorrow, and you are appreciated. As much as I'm a growing fan of the sport, I'm a fan of Coach Bird because how you do this, you're constantly teaching, you're constantly informing, even for those know-it-alls in the world like myself, you make yourself available. No, it's a statement. Not all coaches are going to teach as the opportunity happens and they set up walls, and you haven't set up those walls. You've been yourself, and that's incredibly wonderful to be around. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate you guys too. Maybe Rick and I have that in common. We don't have boundaries.
Yeah,
there we go.
That is plus both of you had match shoe game. You can bond over that as well. Coach,
there you go.
Coach, we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for what you do, and let's get a win in Atlanta.
All righty. See you tomorrow.
There it is. There she is, Coach Bird.